Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jameson Keller. I'm the Vice President of Strategic Development with Agent CRM. With me today, I have our co-founder of Agent Methods, Aaron Cassover. He's going to be presenting to us on social media, how to win friends and influence people and grow sales in 2019. We had this webinar a few days ago. It was absolutely fantastic. Lots of really good information that I personally learned, as well as a lot of good feedback from the people that were on the call. So with that, Aaron, the show is yours.
Okay, thank you so much, Jameson, and thank you to the entire Agency RM team for having me here. I'm really appreciative to be invited in to talk and to share this information with you all. And it's something I'm really excited about because social media is it's this entirely new universe. This is something that didn't exist 10 years ago. And this doesn't happen very often in our lifetimes where we get an entirely new way to interact with our social network. In fact, this may be the only time this has really happened in our lifetimes. And so this is a big change. This is something that's new, and it allows us to scale our interactions in a way that wasn't possible before, where we can reach out to our friends, our family, our colleagues, our customers, our prospects, and have really good, really meaningful interactions that lead to better relationships. And we can do it without ever leaving our house. We can do it while we're traveling on the train. We can scale our time, our reach in a way that just didn't exist 10 years ago. And it's a phenomenal sales tool. It's a phenomenal way to market and to grow our business. But it also is different, and it requires a new way of thinking, a new way of marketing, a new way of interacting, and frankly, it's as easy to get wrong as it is to get right. And so today I hope to kind of first off show you what the opportunity is, why this is worth paying attention to, how this can benefit you, but then also give you some guidance and some insights in how to use it the right way to grow your business, to grow your sales, to grow your relationships. And so that's the goal today. Now, I'm going to try to keep this to about a half an hour, 30 minutes, because I know we're all busy. And so there's a big topic. There's a lot I'm not going to talk about here, but hopefully I'll give you enough that you'll be able to take some action, put this into work. And certainly if you want to go deeper, do ask questions, do engage, and I'll make sure I talk about those at the end. So today's agenda, I want to do 4 things. I want to first give us a primer on social media, kind of what is it, why should we care about it, kind of what's the opportunity. I want to talk specifically about selling in social media. How can this help you grow your sales? Because that's why we're here. I'll give you a framework to think about the big 3. I call them the big 3 networks. This is Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. How they're different, how they're the same, how you approach each one, and then really kind of a game plan of how to use social media in your business that you can put into action right away and start to see some results. So with that, I talk with a lot of agents every day, and I hear a lot of agents express some skepticism towards social media. I hear this, Facebook is just a big time suck. I don't use social media. I don't see the benefits. It's all hype. If you're skeptical, I understand. That's okay. It's good to be skeptical. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're leaning in to learn more. I'm glad you want to take a look. The reality is that social media is big. This is not a small thing. This is a huge thing. The truth is that this is where your customers are. This is where your prospects and your customers are. And I'll show you some data to support that. And if you are in networking, and you need to be, this is where you need to go, because that's where your customers are. Of course, you go where the customers are. So let's look at the data to see how big this is. This comes from last year, the Pew Internet study. 68% of all US adults, nearly 7 out of 10 adults, are on Facebook. So that's by far the majority of your market, and that's been growing every year. It's still growing. So most people are on Facebook. When you look at who uses social media, again, the majority uses it every day. And so just breaking this down, millennials, 90% of millennials use social media daily. 78% of Gen Xers do. 48% of boomers do. So almost half of boomers are on social media networks daily. And if you look at where your market's going, if you think about 5 to 10 years from now, there's two levers. One is that usage is just increasing in each age group. And the second is that as populations age, as people who are in their early 60s retire, it's going to increase the number of retirees because they're already using social media. So we're going to see that as the millennials and the Gen Xers age, we're going to have more and more people using social media. So looking 5 to 10 years out, the trends are clear. This is going to be becoming even more overwhelming. This blows me away. When we look at average social media users, the average social media user spends 2 hours and 22 minutes per day on social networks and messaging. 2 hours and 22 minutes a day. I don't know where that time comes from. Actually, I do know where the time comes from. It comes from other mediums. So we look at print and television. Those channels have seen a huge decline in viewership. And this is why, because people are shifting their attention to their screens, to look at their Twitter feeds, to look at their Facebook, to look at LinkedIn. This is where people are spending their attention now. And what's really cool about that is where you probably couldn't get into broadcast television, you probably couldn't get into Time Magazine or kind of big print publications, you can get access via social media. And so the shift of time to 2 hours and 22 minutes a day, this is newly available time for us that was kind of closed off before. Now, 73% of marketers believe social media is somewhat or very effective for their business. So people who are marketers are using social media, they are seeing good results from doing so. 54% of consumers use social networks to research products. And so when a consumer has a question about a product, they're looking for a referral or a tip or a recommendation, 54% of them go to social media to look for that information. And you'll see this if you use social media yourself. You'll see, your friends and your contacts will say, "Hey, does anybody know a plumber they can recommend?" Or, "Has anybody ever used a Roomba to vacuum their house?" And they will go and get information and get recommendations, and they'll engage their network that they trust, people they know, to learn about products and services to buy. Social media is a powerful referral machine. 71% of consumers who have had a positive experience with the brand are likely to recommend that brand to their friends and family. And so what this means is if you interact with people on social media in a positive way, they are significantly more likely to spread the word. If your business counts on referrals, if you think of referrals as an important part of your growth strategy, social media is a great way to solidify that in your channel. 71% of consumers see positive experiences in social media increases the number of referrals they make to their friends and family. Specific to you, specific to us and insurance, 44% of consumers report having no interaction with their insurer, and that's probably the insurance company, but really anybody in their insurance channel in the last 18 months. So not a lot of interaction going on. When they do interact, 46% indicate that interaction led to them obtaining additional coverage. So almost half the people that interact say that led them to buy more insurance. So think about that. And then only 16% of customers say they don't want to hear from you. So the vast majority do want to hear from you. And when they hear from you, they buy more. So putting this together, first is that your customers are there. They're on social media. They're on it daily. They're on it 2 hours and 22 minutes a day. If they interact with you, they will buy more, 46%, and they will refer more business to you, 71%. Those are things that matter. This will grow your business. So think about that. This is why I think it's important. It's not because I think Facebook is neat. It's not because I like to have lots of friends. It's because the data shows that it works. So let's look at the big three networks. And before we dive into how, I think it's important to kind of understand what we're working with, understand the landscape. So let's do a quick survey of the big three, talk about how they're different, how they're the same. The biggest, of course, is Facebook. And I think of Facebook as friends and family. About 70% of Americans are on Facebook. 3/4 of them are on there every day. So 7 out of 10 are on there, and then 3/4 of them use it daily. On Facebook, you can connect with your friends, old and new. People go back to junior high and earlier. You can connect with your family. This is certainly where you see lots of family interaction, lots of baby photos, grandchild photos. You can have a business page, and you can share that page with your friends and family so they can become aware of your business. And I think that when you go on to Facebook, the question to ask is how can you help your contacts socially? How can you help them socially? And engage in the dialogue socially. LinkedIn, about 27% of Americans are on LinkedIn. I think of LinkedIn as the office. This is sort of our professional network. People go to LinkedIn to expand their career, expand their professional network, to maybe do a job search, or if they want to get a promotion, if they're looking for endorsements or recommendations, and if they're looking to showcase their skills. So connect with your customers, connect with your coworkers, connect with your referral sources. If there are other agents you work with, if there are other professionals, maybe there's financial planners or accountants or realtors that you work with, connect with them on LinkedIn. Think of it as your virtual resume. So this is a place where you can showcase your professional experience. And then when you go there, ask yourself the question, how can you help your contacts professionally? Can you make an introduction that will help somebody? Can you give a testimonial or referral to somebody that will help somebody? How can you help your contacts further their career? And then go to LinkedIn and do that. And then Twitter, a little different. I think of Twitter as the block party. You know, it's sort of this party that's going on outside on Main Street, and you know, conversations are quick, conversations are short, lots of buzz, things move through very quickly. You can drop in, you can drop out. 20%, 22% of Americans are on Twitter, so a little more than a fifth. And they go there for quick info, for what's trending right now, what's hot, and it's sort of like it's the chatter. It's like the water cooler chatter. On Twitter, you can follow people or topics that you're interested in, really for any reason. And so it can be professional, it can be entertainment, it can be social. The challenge is taming the fire hose. There's so much chatter, so much going on there that you can get overwhelmed and kind of lost in the info. And so you need to also spend some time kind of cultivating your feed in Twitter to make sure that you're getting information that's relevant to you and to your customers and your contacts. And then when you go there, think about, you know, what do your customers and prospects talk about? What are they finding interesting? What are they engaging in? And you can really use it to start to get a pulse for your market, a pulse for your audience. So that's the big three social networks. Now, when you approach them, I think it's really important to think about how marketing on social media is different from traditional channels. And traditional marketing, of course, skywriting is sort of the ultimate in broadcast marketing. It's all about getting people exposed to your products, to your services, and to your message. It's about broadcasting that out to a large audience. You push your message out, you discuss your offerings, you highlight your features, your benefits. We think that repetition works here, saying the same thing over and over again. We certainly see this with advertisers where they show us the same message. We see the same message in TV, we see it in print, we see it in billboards, we see it in the radio, we hear it in the radio. Marketers talk about the rule of 7, where people have to hear a message 7 times to have it stick with them. That's traditional marketing. That does not work in social media. Repetition, broadcasting, all of those things don't work. With social media, it's about narrowcasting. It's about speaking to really specific audiences, having as high engagement as possible. And that means not broadcasting, but instead getting into real conversations. On social media, your audience is in charge, and they can tune you out. They can block you, they can tune you out. But also, your competition on social media is different. Your competition is not other insurance companies, other advertisers. You have a different challenge. And let's take a look at what your competition is doing on Facebook right now. So this is just Facebook. So this is your competition on social media. It's a cat in a raincoat. This is probably a Seattle cat that lives near me. And there are endless pictures of funny cats, cute babies. How do you stand out? If you're not a cat person, there's dogs taking baths. This is funny dog videos. They will fill up your feed with funny pictures of dogs taking baths and who knows what else. If you're not a dog person, there's beaches and dream travel and escapism. How can you compete with that? Would people rather talk about insurance or talk about the next beach they're going to go to? I'm not a beach person. I'm a dad of twins, so funny twin babies playing together, certainly something that I resonate to. And I could go on and on. No matter what you're into, no matter what is going to catch your attention, no matter what is going to distract you, Facebook will figure that out. They will figure it out, and they will find a way to show that to you. And so this is your competition. Your competition is not the other insurance agent. Your competition is baby photos, cute twin videos, dogs taking baths. So how can insurance compete with babies, pets, vacation photos? People didn't come to Facebook to learn about burial insurance or final expense or Medicare or really anything else that you offered. They came there to look at pictures of cats. They came there to get entertained and get engaged and have some fun. So on first glance, you might be saying, okay, well, thanks, Aaron. You're right. There's no place for us here. But we know that this is where your audience is, right? And we know that consumers are more likely to buy from businesses that they interact with on social media. And we know that insurance is a relationship business and social media is about relationships. And so you put those things together, your audience is here, consumers are more likely to buy from and refer from businesses they interact with, and insurance is about relationships. So suddenly, yes, social media is about relationships. It's about those things. So there is a case for this. There is a place for this. And the question becomes, how do you approach social media differently to make it work? What's the game plan here that doesn't work in traditional marketing, but works in social media? How do you think differently? So it really comes down to this. Social media is not about you. When you're going to market your business, it's not about you. It's not a popularity contest. It's not who has the most likes, who has the most clicks, who has the most followers. It's not a place to broadcast your message to get it to as wide of an audience as possible. It's not a place to talk about yourself. Traditional marketing is about broadcasting. Social media is about engagement. And we know that 46% of social media users will unfollow a brand for posting too many promotional messages. So if you make it about you, you will lose your audience. And on the other hand, nobody's going to mind if you follow them, if you like them, if you talk about them, if you respond to their questions, if you comment on their baby pictures and vacation photos. We look at things like the number of followers and the number of likes. We call those vanity metrics. They're vanity metrics because they make you feel good about yourself, but they don't help your customers and they don't lead to sales. Those are broadcast metrics. They're not engagement metrics. The number of followers you have is not an indication of how engaged your audience is, it's just how big it is. So what leads to sales instead is quality interaction, where you align yourselves with your customers to build trust. And this probably makes intuitive sense to you because you're in the business of sales and you have tons of experience building relationships offline. You do this every day, all day offline. But somehow online has kind of become a mystery. How do we do this online? And this is where the title of today's presentation comes from. I think back to Dale Carnegie's classic, How to Win Friends and Influence People. I think it's as relevant as ever. And the beauty of this book is that his advice is so simple. It's so obvious. It probably comes naturally to you at this point in your lives. But I think it's still worth going back and revisiting. He has these 6 ways to make people like you. Become genuinely involved, generally interested in other people. Smile. Remember, a person's name is, to that person, the sweetest and most important sound in any language. Be a good listener. Encourage others to talk about themselves. talk in terms of the other person's interest, make the other person feel important, and do it sincerely. And again, that probably comes naturally to you. You can just apply this online. It's kind of like the fortune cookie game. Be genuine, genuinely interested on Facebook. Smile on Instagram. Remember that person's name on LinkedIn. Be a good listener on Twitter. Talk in terms of that person's interest on Facebook. Make that person feel important on all of social media. When approaching social media, throw away what you know about traditional marketing and instead tap into everything you know about interacting with people and getting them to like you. And that means caring about them, making it about them. So that's kind of the framework for approaching social media. Now let's talk about using it in sales. Let's get down to the details here. So here are 4 ways you can use this to grow your sales right now. The first is to share content that your audience cares about. And it sounds obvious, but it can also be counterintuitive. Remember, our goal is engagement, it's not broadcasting. And so the trick here is to focus as much on what your market cares about as possible and resist the urge to focus on what we care about, which is insurance sales. Insurance is what we want to talk about, but we know our prospects only think about insurance a few times a year. They think about when they're buying it, when they need it, and when they're using it. But otherwise, it's not a daily topic. And so instead, we need to focus on giving them what they want to hear, engaging with what they care about, because that means that when the time is right, they'll come to us to talk about insurance. So I've developed a little rule you can use to kind of guide your sharing on social media to put this into place. It's the 3-2-1 rule. And I'll explain to you how it works. So think about what you sell. Medicare supplement, life insurance, final expense insurance. And when you share that, for every one time you talk about the things that you sell, you need to talk about why your customers need it for 2 times. So they need it because they care about their health, they care about their wellness. And then for every 2 times you do that, you have to focus on really what your customers care about and have in common 3 times. So for every 1 time you talk about what you sell, post 2 times about why your customers need it, and 3 times about the kind of the larger topics they care about and what defines them as a group or as a market. It's kind of abstract. Let me give you an example. So imagine you are a senior market agent in Seattle, Washington. So what you sell, Medicare supplement, final expense, critical illness. You can talk about that 1 time. And then 2 times, protecting your health, protecting your retirement, wellness, well-being, 2 times. And then 3 times, what do your customers care about? They care about family, they care about their grandkids, they care about regional travel, they care about Seattle info, current events, local businesses. Maybe there's a new restaurant opening up. Maybe there's a restaurant that has a senior special. Maybe there's a museum that is free on Tuesdays if you're over 65. You can talk about those sorts of things. And if you think about that, what's going to happen is half of your content is going to be the stuff that your audience is going to want to pay attention to. Half of it is what they care about. And then the other half starts to drive more into what you have to offer. And this will give you a good balance where people won't tune you out. They won't see you as being self-promotional or too much about your agenda, because they'll tune into what they care about the most. The second is, it's kind of like being in middle school. You have to ask people to be your friend. You have to go and say, will you like me? Will you be my friend? It's kind of hard to do, and it kind of feels a little unnatural. But you've got to do it. You got to be proactive and ask for people to follow you. You have to give them a reason why. Here's what you're going to get out of it. Here's how it's going to help you. And then make it a habit to connect with everybody. So after every conversation with the prospect, after every new customer sale, after every referral, after every new introduction, reach out and make that connection through social media. So here's a sample email you can send out after a conversation with a new prospect. Sarah, thanks for the call today. I wanted to make you aware of my business Facebook page. On it, I share info relevant to you, your retirement, health, and generally enjoying life in Seattle. I think you'll find it valuable and even fun. Take a minute and follow it now. You can see it here. Just click like on the like button to add it to your feed. All the best, Aaron. And so this email kind of explains why they would care, gives them instructions on what to do, and gives them a link to go and follow the business. You can write this email and then make it a habit of sending it out after every conversation, and you will start to build up that network in your social media. The key to success ultimately is understanding what your audience engages with and really get to know what they care about, so you can make that 3 in the 3-2-1 more and more and more relevant. And the way you do this is by monitoring, by tracking, engaging, and responding with people to make the conversation two-way. So become an active participant in the conversation as opposed to just pushing out content. And then respond and comment to what your audience shares and does, because that will start to let you get to know what they're tuning into. And then keep track of what you share to find out what's getting the most clicks, what's getting the most responses, so that you can do more of that. Our platform allows us to see exactly what content you share that people engage with. So you'll start to see the number of shares, number of engagements that you get for each share. And really quickly, you'll learn what content, if you share about maybe a restaurant in Seattle that gets lots of clicks, but gardening tips gets none. And you'll know that you can do more restaurants and less gardening tips. And then finally, I save this for last. This is where people want to start. But I don't think it works until you know really what your audience cares about and you have an engaged audience to set a foundation. You can amplify your message through super targeted advertising. And there's a few things you can do. One is that you can target your markets in a way you couldn't do otherwise, because social media networks have so much data about their audiences. And we've seen this a lot in the press recently, that they're able to tell us, somebody's age and birthday. So we know who's turning 65 in June of 2019. We know who's looking to buy a new house, or who's looking to move, or who's expecting a baby. And we can target our advertising just to those people. We can also create lookalike audiences where you take your best customers and say, find me more customers like these people. And then you can really create very, very targeted campaigns that speak directly to that niche audience you're targeting to. Now, I focus on Facebook here because I think for insurance agents, it's the most relevant, it's the most useful and easy to get started. It still applies to LinkedIn and Twitter, but I'm focusing on Facebook. The same rules as sharing content applies. This is an ad that showed up in my feed. I'm a bit of a techie, and so this is for a transactional email service. And they approach the whole cute pictures of cat thing head on. Looking for a new rockstar email service? Try us. Otherwise, here's a cute cat. And so they're kind of having fun with advertising. They know that their ad is competing with cute cats, so rather than try to compete, they just went directly there. It's kind of funny. With advertising, it's all about relevance, it's all about engagement, and the way you get that as focused as you can is by targeting as much as you can to get as detailed, as specific, as refined an audience as you possibly can. You can filter and target based on age, you can do it based on location, based on income, based on interests, based on job titles, to create a really narrow audience to engage with. Here's an example of an agent that's producing long-term care sales at about $75 each, not just leads, but sales through Facebook advertising. They invested $600 and created over $10,000 in premium in about 2 weeks. And this is a super targeted ad. It's in Louisiana, going after state Louisiana employees. And so they're advertising just to state employees. And you can see the messaging is all about the benefit to a state employee, why they should care. And so that's an example of going after a targeted market, state employees in Louisiana, able to target based on income and age to identify the best prospects for this product and really engage them in a specific way. So wrapping up, your customers are on social media. They want to interact with you. Interacting with them brings more trust, more loyalty, more referrals, more sales, all things we want. It's about them. It's not about you. It's not about me. It's about them. And then when you're ready, and only when you're ready, you can advertise if you can target and be relevant. So that's kind of the wrapping up things to think about in social media. Now, I'm with Agent Methods. We are a company that focuses on helping insurance agents like you with your online marketing. We have built and run a marketing platform that you can use that powers your website. So if you are looking to improve your online presence, a better website, we can help you with that. If you are looking to do email marketing, we have absolutely the easiest way to create effective email marketing campaigns you'll ever find for insurance agents. It's super easy to use and it produces sales like email today, you have new sales tomorrow. And then we also do social media management and newsletters. And Agent CRM has negotiated a special offer for their agents with us. And so if you're looking for any of these three things, let's talk. Our focus is on supporting your entire sales process. And so we think about your sales process starting with generating leads and then building trust and supporting sales, nurturing your relationships, doing cross-selling and doing referrals. And so we've built our system to give you tools and support throughout this entire life cycle because we've learned that if you do all of this, this is where you really see long-term success. And so we can talk about how we can help you with all of these things. We've worked with agents all across the country in all different kinds of markets, lots of senior market, lots of life and health agents, but we also have agents in very focused markets. We work with multi-line, P&C, commercial group, but definitely lots of senior focused agents, lots of life and health. We have experience with CMS and the fun of staying compliant with their guidelines, as well as kind of just cross-selling into different, very specific markets, products like long-term care, final expense, that sort of thing. Our websites give you a professional appearance online. The joke I like to make is that it used to be you had to show up in a nice car with a nice suit because your customers would look out their people when you showed up for your sales presentation and decide whether or not they trusted you. And now today, your first impression happens online. Your first impression with your customers is your website. And so your website needs to not just look the best, it needs to look professional, it needs to be as good as a well-pressed suit and a clean car, but it also needs to be engaging, it needs to bring your customers in, it needs to give them a reason to contact you as opposed to somebody else. And so we'll make sure you have that. And then we provide you with support. So we have a team that only works with insurance agents. We know what you need to be successful. And so we'll help you with your website setup. We'll help you with thinking through social media. We'll help you through cross-selling campaigns. We'll help you through getting more referrals. And then of course, doing things like launching assistance, getting your setup and running. And we're available through phone, through chat, and through email. And so there's lots of ways for you to reach out and get help from our team. If you're interested in learning more about Agent Methods and how we can help you with your social media, with your email marketing, with your online marketing and web presence, let's talk. You can go to agentmethods.com and schedule a demo right there, and we can go over the details of the Agent CRM special offer. But even more than that, if you have questions, feel free to drop a line to me. This is my email, aaron@agentmethods.com. I love doing this. I love talking about this stuff. I would love to hear from you and see how we can help you use online marketing, use website marketing, and use social media to grow your business. So with that, Jameson, I'm going to turn it back over to you.
Thank you very much for attending today. I strongly recommend, if you didn't get to see the other 2 webinars in this series, that you go to our videos page on our website at agencyrm.com and check those out. I'm sure that we will have Aaron back for future webinars. He's always a popular speaker for us. Aaron, thank you very much for your time. I've always learned something every time you come on and speak with us here. So I appreciate your time today. If anybody has any questions, you can reach AgencyRM at 855-721-8088, or you can email us at service@agencyrm.com. Thank you very much, folks. Have a fantastic day. Happy selling.